absolutely disgusted right now with how the NCAA committee completely botched this seeding process of all these teams here. So, and if you're not wondering what's going on, you're a casual fan and you don't really look at like softball purposes, well, this is why we're here for, to kind of give y'all a lowdown what's going on. Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief. So, I'm disgusted right now. I really am. It was a process, and I know these people, I'm sure they watch a lot of games. I would hope they would for their own sake. And I'm just disgusted about what happened there. So, to get down into what happened to the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, in addition with LSU softball, we're talking about them today. And we're also going to be talking about LSU baseball and getting swept by Mississippi. Not swept, losing a series to Mississippi State after giving up 14 runs yesterday and scoring 13. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that one. Cajuns baseball team somehow get a sweep against Texas State. Was not expecting that one. Like I said earlier in the season, baseball is a very weird sport, and you got to account for these kind of things. So, without further ado, welcome to the show, everybody. Juicy has tonight off tonight, so it would just be me riding solo here. So you get to listen to what I got to say about this ordeal here. So anyway, as we get down to the regionals of the NCAA softball tournament here, as y'all have probably already heard, the Baton Rouge Regional will feature the Louisiana Raging Cajuns as the number 2 seed. LSU, of course, is the host. Omaha and Prairie View A&M will round out the other two teams, excuse me. So you're probably wondering, why am I upset with the decision here? So here's the thing here that needs to be talked about. Let's break down these numbers here, because this is something that there's only 2 times this has happened, and the second time happened yesterday, that a RPI of 11 did not host a regional. The Cajuns were the second team in the entire history of them seeding these guys and these teams to not host. Their non-conference RPI is 9. Their strength of schedule is 15. Their non-conference strength of schedule is 3rd in the country. This is not the Sun Belt Conference. This is the country. Now, the one stat that people have picked apart of this and why they didn't host, I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on Facebook, I've seen it on Instagram. The one stat that people point out the most is the 1 through 25, 2-10 record. Now, you got to be careful when you look at specific numbers, because you can run yourself into trouble. So, okay, they lost 10 times to the teams in that range, okay? So let's look at this here. Let's go look at their losses on the year. We're going to go look through the whole entire thing. We're going to go all the way up to the top, and we're going to go run our way down. So, obviously, remember, beginning of the part of the year, we covered this stuff, beginning part of the year. There's Michigan, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, UCLA, and Florida State. Okay, so those are 5 of them. That's a big chunk of their losses for the year, and that they had 13 losses. Okay, 2 of those was in conference, so let's see, that brings us up to 7. So there's 5 more that we have to go through here. Let's look at Michigan. We're going to go through one by one, and that 2-10 RPI to show. Okay, so Michigan had a 500 record, 10-13 on the year. So they had an RPI of 49. Okay, so, that wasn't that great of a putting in there. Let's go Oklahoma State now. Oklahoma State, what was their RPI? As it sits right now, 5. Okay, so we have the one loss from in a 5. I'm going to count these down here. We're going to count top 10 RPI losses, okay, to make this maybe a plausible argument here. 38-17 is Arkansas. So we're going to go look through Arkansas. I'm holding my finger up here. 15. Okay, so we got 2 that were without that range here. UCLA. Let's go look at them. 52-5. they're going to be way high up there. 2. So that's 2. 2 of those losses were the top 5 RPI ranked team. 2 top 10 RPI teams. Florida State, they're 50-8. 22-2 in their conference. They're number 3 in RPI. So that's third one. So 3 out of the 5 that we had talked about here were losses are in that regard there. So, okay, let's go down here. I see Texas. They lost to Texas twice. And they did lose to LSU as well. They did split games series with LSU. LSU, looking at RPI, and LSU did get a host spot. RPI is 8. Okay, so they lost that one. That's 4. Let's see, Texas. Texas is RPI. 10. So that's 5. And they lost to them twice, so we're going to count that as 6 because it was another occurrence and it does count as a loss. So you have to pay attention to that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to prove how flawed the NCAA seeding was. The Cajuns got robbed, point blank. I'm going to come out and say it. So Florida. Okay, so we're at 5. They did lose one to Florida. Florida RPI right now is 21. You can give it. They have 7 strength of schedule. No, it's not bad losses, but you're like, okay, so how many of this in this quadrant 1 were top 10 teams that they lost to in RPI? They lost to Baylor and A&M. Okay, so these might have done more damage here because A&M, they're 25. I figured that. I was like, but they're still in that realm. They're still in that top 25 thing. So I'm just trying to see Baylor 39-16. They didn't have a good. Big 12 is brutal in softball though. So 18 because you got that juggernaut of Oklahoma there too. So that kind of, gives problems and stuff like that. So it is what it is. Anyway, let me look here. And you have the 2 losses in conference. I'm trying to see. There's Troy. I'm trying to see they lost to some App State. That was the other one. Those 2 were out of it in the top 10. So 5. So 5 of their 13 losses were the top 10 RPI teams. So they lost all 5 in the top 10 rating. So let's say if we took away those. Okay, let's take away those 5 top 10 losses. So half of their losses, there'll be 2 and 5 without those teams there. So half of their losses in that range of teams are in the top 10 RPI teams. Yeah, that's what the Cajuns should have hosted point blank. They're 15-0 and 26 through 50, 51 through 100. Like if you watch, I think Dave Schultz posted a video of their reaction when it was on Twitter when it was introduced, and just the shock of these girls' faces because it was leading up to it. Everybody was talking about like if they win through the Sun Belt Conference, it should be a no-brainer. They should be a host. They could have put LSU and Louisiana as regional sites. I would agree with that here. But let's look at teams that actually got to be hosts here. And this is going to anger some people here. So let's look at the 15 and 16 seed. I know someone brought up Utah, but I think Utah had a little bit better more than Clemson. Clemson was the one that I was like, what? Oh, they seeded all these teams weird, and I don't understand. Alabama should not be a 5th seed. I'm shocked that they're a 5th seed here. That's crazy to me. Because you don't know if Mons is even going to play. That's the thing. So what is even going on? So Clemson, all right, they haven't paired up with number 1 region. Honestly, for the Cajuns, it's a better matchup, honestly, for them to go to Baton Rouge than them host their own regional because they would have been paired up with Oklahoma anyway, probably. So let's see here, Clemson. Let me pull up Clemson here. Let's go look for these teams real quick here. That's the American ACC. Here's Clemson. Yeah, this is going to anger Cajun fans if they wasn't looking at Clemson. Some of them were trying to jump on LSU, and I think they're really misguided because some of them just hate LSU just to hate LSU. They just hate them. So if you look at Clemson's numbers, y'all going to laugh at this one here. Their RPI is 14. Cajuns beat them in RPI. Okay, the Cajuns have a higher RPI than them. Non-conference RPI, they are 7. Cajuns higher than them there. Strength of schedule, 56. That's right. You have a host team with a strength of schedule of 56. Cajuns are way higher than that at 11. So, non-conference strength of schedule, 53. Well, their non-conference was 3rd. And so, look, they beat them in all the ranking categories of strength of schedule. RPI, non-conference RPI, and non-conference strength of schedule. Cajuns beat Clemson. No doubt. Versus RPI teams, they're 4-7, 1 through 25. Okay, so if we're doing this survey, so look, if they were going to look at this from perspective on down, when you look at these 1 through 25, 26 through 50, 51 through 100, and 101 through 200, they have all these records laid out. They're 4-7 here. So, but the Cajuns but the Clemson Tigers having 4 wins here. Let's see who they actually lost to here. They have 7 losses in here, so we're going to look through all their losses, which they only have 9 losses, and the majority of them come from that quadrant 1 record, that 1 through 25. They have 7. So this should be fairly easy. They did lose to Duke in the tournament. So let's see where NC State is. That was a conference game they did lose. And they are 145. Let's see here. They got swept by Florida State. Florida State at RPI of way high in the top 5. So yeah, we'll give them 3 of that there. We're gonna be fair. So that's 3. There's Tennessee. They're 9, so they have 4 top 10 losses in the RPI. 3 of which were to the same team. NC State, that was a bad loss for them. They lost the series to Virginia Tech. I don't think Virginia, they're not in that top 10. They're 24. And they lost a series to them. Liberty, let's see. Lost to Liberty. Liberty's not going to be high up there. I can tell you that right now. They're 28. So, yeah, basically Duke, let's see. 45-10. And Duke is 7. So, with them having 4 losses in the top 10. No, 5 losses, because I think Tennessee was 10 or something. No, it was Texas, I think, 10. They're 9. Okay, so they have the same amount of losses against top 10. So, once again, if you look at all the host teams in this tournament, they're all Power 5 teams that come from the Power 5 conferences, SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12. You know, that's it right there. That the bias is so plain out in the open with that. It don't make no sense. That's my little spiel for this. So let's get down to breaking down these regionals here. It's over with. I can't do nothing about it. So, you know, you got to question the people they put on these committees. You really got to look at that stuff a lot better. But so Cajuns here, we're going to break down some stats for them here. Cajuns haven't made it to the Women's College World Series since 2014. This is their tournament history here. The last time they made it to a super regional was in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. They got eliminated by LSU in 17, 18, and 21. They got eliminated by Ole Miss in 2019 and last year to Clemson. So that was kind of part of their thing here. Cajuns are batting 25th in the nation batting average, and they're second in their conference here. Megan Shorman and Sam Landry are the top two pitchers for the Cajuns so far this year. Megan Shorman's pitching at 1.84 ERA. Sam Landry is at 2.02 for the Cajuns so far this year. Earned run average, they're 21st in pitching in the country. Home runs per game, they're got 1.25. They're 18th in that. Scoring offense, they're 24. They average about 5.93. They're 18th in slugging percentage. They're 18th in stolen bases, and they're 63rd in triples. So, looking at that, it's going to be tough to pick who I think is going to make it out of this regional because both LSU and the Cajuns are real good at this, but the other teams are pretty good too. So the Tigers are 20th in the nation. They're 23rd in doubles per game, 119. Earned run average is 15th. Fielding percentage is 17th. That's one thing that's going to help out the Tigers a lot, their defensive play. The Cajuns are 94th in the country at that. So that is one thing the Cajuns are going to get better at is fielding percentage. If that pitcher is not like solid that day, they got to shore up on defense. That is the big Achilles heel for the Cajuns so far this year. Tigers don't hit that many home runs like the Cajuns do. Tigers are 91st in hitting home runs. Scoring offense is 45th for them. 50th in slugging percentage. They're 206. They barely even steal the bases that well. And they're 112. So LSU is very good defensively. Alec Capone is 2.16. Sidney Berzon is 1.68 ERA in the country. So leading the team is Danica Coffey Jr., hitting .395 for LSU. And let's see here. For the Cajuns, it's Lenny Corredor at .389. Maya Davis is at .383. Lauren Alred is at .379. If you look at both these teams here, the Cajuns definitely have like the higher up hitters here. Oh, I was wondering why they think that's sort of like that. Taylor Pleasance is hitting .331. I don't know why they got Carly Petty at third if she's hitting .289. But they just have like key field players, so it is what it is. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. So that's what's going on here. Let's go back to the bracket here. What about Omaha? So Omaha, they're 32-15. They don't have great numbers, okay? The best thing they have going for them, well, they got two. Their earned run average is 16th in the country. Cameron Meyer has a 1.14 ERA. They're 16th in the ERA. So they got good pitching. Doubles per game, 10th. They don't have that much offense, 125th. Home runs per game is 224 in the country. They're averaging like .36, so they play a lot of small ball. Slugging percentage, 167. Stolen bases, 1.34 a game. 75th, triple is 69th. No recent postseason appearances. So this is their first, I don't want to say it's their first regional. You don't hear about them too much making the softball tournament because this thing looks like it goes back to 2007, I think. Prairie View AM, they made it to a regional last year. They didn't last very long. They lost to Oklahoma last year and eliminated by Minnesota. But here's what they got going on. They're 134th in the nation, batting average, 217th in double plays per game. Doubles per year is 180. Earned 158. Fielding percentage 269. Home runs per game is 109. Scoring offense is 95th. So Select percentage 126. Stolen bases per game is 199. Triples per game is 259. So they're not a well hidden team, basically. So looking at all these teams here, let me see here. I'm trying to see. Where's the Summit Conference here? That's where Omaha is from. Trying to scroll down to look at this real quick here. So Summit here, Southland. Wait, did I pass it out? That's the Sun Belt. The Summit League. Not many teams in it there. Like North Dakota State's in there. That's, if you're a football fan, you definitely know about North Dakota State. So 1 through 25, Omaha is 0-4. Okay. 26 through 50 is 1 and 3 on the year. 51 through 100 are 5-4. So they're probably not going to win this regional. If I had to make an educated guess and be like, yeah, this is the team I want to watch out for, they're definitely not the one for me to be putting all my money on, basically, in this D1 softball regional here. So let's take a look at Prairie View A&M as we're going to pull them up as well here. So this is something that I think LSU and Louisiana is going to be the two teams that's going to be fighting each other to see who wins it here. But they split the series this year. Okay. I think, like, I like the way the Cajuns are going to react one of two ways here, and it's going to be on opposite ends here. They could be really crushed by the news that they're not hosting and get distracted by the fact that they got it completely ignored for everything they worked for all year and everything they had done. They could just, line the dumps and be like, look, this is like, what else can we do? Because there's nothing else they could do about it. I mean, they played about as good as you can ask of them in that kind of RPI and all that other stuff going on there. Or they could be like, yeah, we're going to prove these guys wrong and go out there and take it on the field. And you know what? I'm thinking the later on that one. I think the Cajuns are going to win this regional. I'm going to say that right now because LSU went 1-0 in the SEC conference tournament. They're not looking real hot right now. They're very cold. Louisiana, and they had a long break. LSU is gonna take a game or two for them to get back in their rhythm because the last time LSU softball played a game. Hold on, I want to get the exact date because I'm not very good at dates here. Let me see here. The last time they played a game, I'm gonna go look at the schedule here. I think I want the schedule. You lied to me. Because I clicked the link for the schedule. It didn't bring it up. It lied to me. Anyway, so they're going to play Prairie View A&M. Louisiana's going to play Omaha. That's the two teams. So the Tigers haven't played anybody since May 10th. It seemed like a lot longer than that, but I don't know. Like, it's been 5 days, and this is Monday. So you're going to have a break. This kind of hurts LSU, though, in my opinion. Because the 16th Tuesday, 17th Wednesday, 18th Thursday, 19th Friday. And they're playing on the 19th. So you're going to have a 9-day layover for a game. And then you got to go back to back. It's going to take them at least 2 games to get back into rhythm here. Because I think that first game against Prairie View A&M, I don't think LSU is going to lose that game. They should beat them. I'm picking LSU to beat Prairie View A&M. I got Louisiana beating Omaha. I think that favors the Cajuns because if you look at the 13th was the last time that Louisiana played, that there's 3 days difference there. So they're more fresh. It's like another weekend game to them. That's kind of the thing that I'm trying to get at here. So I think with them, the Cajuns have beaten them in Tiger Park already this year, and a lot of Cajun fans are going to go over there to support the Cajuns. They're not going to sit there and just be like, well, they're gonna show up over there. Now, granted, how will the team respond? Now, the Tigers will win this game if they play great defense over the Cajuns. If the Cajuns make mistakes on defense, they're going to lose. And I think that's one of the things that we got to watch out for between both these teams here. I think the Cajuns are going to beat them, though, because I got a good feeling that they're going to beat LSU because just the way it lines up, it's almost like a perfect storm to like really take over and have a deep run into the tournament here. Is this team capable of making a deep run? Yes, but here's one problem with this, though. This is the time of year that great pitching and defense neutralizes good hitting teams. Cajuns are a good hitting team, but they're not in the top 50 defensively, is what I'm getting at here. Not to say we were the only podcast out there at Lansing Park to cover this team. Okay, that's due to Cajuns. We were the only ones out there. So we got to see this stuff in person. So we know how the Cajuns play. We went to a good bit of softball games this year. And I'm pretty sure Juicy is going to disagree with me because he's on the opposite spectrum. He's an LSU fan. He's going to be like, they're going to win. I'm more on the Cajun side there, but I would agree. Marshall was a good team. They beat them 1-0. Marshall played really good defense. I say that May 20th, it's going to be LSU versus the Cajuns. And it'll probably be not the elimination game. But I do think LSU is going to beat the Cajuns at least once in this tournament, though. I think it's going to go all the way down to that last game. I think they'll split again, but I think the Cajuns get that second game. Either that or the Cajuns are going to win 2 back-to-back games here because I think they got a lot of pent-up anger, and I think they're going to let down that regional. Now, granted, I will show you where everything lines up in the super regional since we're going to be talking about that. So since I got the Cajuns getting out of there, I think Washington's going to get out of the Seattle regional. I think they're going to be paired up with Washington. I know that's a safe bet. It's just going to be a lot. I would love McNeese to come out of that regional, but just to have Louisiana support there, but I don't see it happening for McNeese here. But Washington, they went to the Supers in 2021. It's really weird not to see Arizona. That's one thing that I'm shocked about, that Arizona they just did so bad this year. Really shocked to see Arizona softball not in even the postseason. That's crazy. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. That's all we got to talk about with softball. So now let's go flip it on to the other side. Let's talk about some baseball here. So Louisiana Raging Cajuns. I thought they were going to lose. It was going to be tough for me to even call a sweep last week. Based on what we saw, this team is very inconsistent this year. You take the whole body of work, but they might be turning the corner. You always say that with baseball. They might be peaking at the right time. They're at 66 live RPI update here. And it's crazy. So this week here, if Coastal can win out, or Southern Miss, they're going to be tied if they both win out here. I think Coastal's going to win the regular season Sun Belt title, though. I think Southern Miss is going to at least lose a game to the Cajuns, at least. They're playing Marshall. Coastal should sweep Marshall. That should be a sweep. I just keep thinking if the Cajuns would have pulled off that April 30th game against Coastal in the extra innings there, if they could have won that one, might be a whole different situation here because they would have got because the Cajuns are only 3 games back. That's the crazy thing about it. So they really went up here. The Sun Belt Conference is so close in standings that it's Troy 16-11, the Cajuns 17. This is the top 5. App State's 15-11, Troy 16-11, Cajuns 17-10, Coastal is 20-7. Southern Miss is 20-7. So if you look at this here, you got a 3-game lead for both of them. It's either going to go to Southern Miss or Coastal. Now, what if the Cajuns sweep Southern Miss this week? You're going to have them at 20-10 and Southern Miss at 20-10. Now, for insanity to ensue, what if Marshall would sweep Coastal? I know hypothetically that is probably not going to happen, but I mean, it's fun to think about, like chaos. Could you imagine these 3 teams? You have Louisiana arguing, oh, we swept Southern Miss. You would have Coastal Oregon, well, we beat Louisiana in a series, and we beat Southern. Let's see here. Like, it's just going to be chaos, like, who would you give it to? I think, it's just one of those things here. Southern Miss, they lost the series to Coastal earlier in the year. And it's just like, okay, you got all this stuff going on. Southern Miss is riding a 13-game win streak. I think this Cajun team is peaking at the right time, though. I like the way what I saw this weekend, but I cannot trust them. I'm gonna pick them winning this series, but I'm not gonna do a sweep because I just don't think the likelihood of that happening would be. I say Coastal wins the regular season Sun Belt. Southern Miss is gonna be right there. And let's see, I got the Cajuns winning 2, so that'd be 19-10. 19-11. I got them finishing 19-11. And Southern Miss is going to have a 21-9 record with Coastal being 23-7. So Southern Miss, I think, finishes second in the regular season. Cajun will be third in conference play. Now you got to watch out for Troy and App State, James Madison. They're all competing for that third spot as well. Let's see what Troy has here. They can't win. They're playing App State, so that's going to resolve that real easy here. So they'll figure out who finishes fourth here. If the Cajuns wouldn't have got swept by James Madison, that's what really I thought the at-large spot was dead, but they're right on that bubble. That's the thing with the Cajuns. I thought, honestly, I think a lot of people thought that too, that after this James Madison series, that at-large was dead. Okay, they got swept. Then you lose the series to Coastal. You start, the ULM, they should have swept that one anyway. Then you got to sweep Texas State. That's back-to-back sweeps. You see Cajuns are getting hot. I mean, they lost a midweek game to Louisiana Tech. But hey, I mean, it was a midweek game, and there's not much stock put in those here. So I'm curious here. I want to see what this prediction's going to be here. So let's do the predicted results here for the Cajuns. Predicted results here. I want to see what their RPI is going to be. It's got them at 39, which would get them at large. It's got them getting swept by Southern Miss. I think it's got a 4-7, 0-4, 3-6. But the Cajuns pitching hasn't been there this year. I think the ceiling for the Cajuns baseball team is a regional. I think, though, if they get to a regional, they're not going to make it to a super regional. I don't see them getting out of the regional this year, from what I've seen the whole entire season. But, hey, like we all thought Ole Miss last year, the LSU series, win national championship. Would never have expected it. So, got to watch those teams that are streaking right now. And Southern Miss is one of those teams streaking. But I think Cajuns win 2 or 3 against them, and I will keep my pick there. So, now let's go to across the basin and go check out what the LSU Tigers are up to here. Now, both these two teams are very similar in one regard here. They both have terrible pitching staffs, okay? Altogether, LSU's pitching is horrible. Except out of the exception of Paul Skeens. He's the best pitcher in the country. And it's just, the Tigers are 16-10. They're in quadrant 1 record here. They're going to host. LSU's done enough to host this year. But it's crazy to me. Getting beat by Mississippi State, getting beat by Auburn. You know, like the Friday games, they win. It's just crazy to me, man. Like, and then they got a 3-game series against Georgia. Out. And they got Miss McNeese as well. So I think LSU beats McNeese. I say 2 or 3 against Georgia. I think LSU gets back on track against Georgia and goes to the SEC tournament with some momentum because they're probably going to the Thursday night game. Paul Skeens will probably be pitching if everything holds true. Friday and Saturday, they're going to win 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3. They're not going to sweep Georgia, I don't think, unless they get really hot and they just manage to do it. But the pitching staff of LSU is just not good. They'll probably make it to a regional. But if you ain't got good pitching and if they don't get better at pitching in the whole entire time, because Paul Skeens can't pitch every single game for LSU. It's just not going to happen that way. So, let's see. I think 2 or 3 against Georgia going to the SEC tournament. And we'll just see where everything lays out at. There's a series left to be played for everybody. So, we'll see what happens there. That's my predictions for the week here. I will see y'all next week here, and we're gonna see what happened with the regionals, right? So I got Louisiana Raging Cajun softball advancing out of the Baton Rouge regional as my winner, and we're just gonna see where the Raging Cajun baseball team ends up here. I got them winning 2 or 3 against Southern Miss. LSU baseball, I got 2 or 3 against Georgia. LSU softball, I got them losing in their own regional hosting. So I do think it's gonna go to the last game though. So we'll see what happens there. It was a tough draw for LSU, honestly, with them getting the Cajuns. But I was surprised McNeese got sent up to Washington, but because I thought it'd been nice to put like a lot of Louisiana teams, so travel costs and that kind of thing. But I guess they know what they're doing, right? We'll see. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great, wonderful day. And we'll see y'all next time here on the Fishbowl Radio.